500 likes for the scariest ghost videos caught in 2024. Finally, a video with some clear context that I don't have to make a lot of things up just to fill the gaps. Samantha, or so I named her, she could also be a male. I'm not so sure if the person is a female or a male. There is no clear indicator, even in the reaction. But this person recently moved into the house in the next video. The story as told by the person goes like this. Recently, I moved into a small wooden house in a very remote village in northern Italy, right where an alpine trail begins. After living in the city for so long, I was really looking forward to some peace and quiet and all the fresh air I could get. When I first saw the house, it was tiny, but it had a cozy feeling and the price was right, so I decided to take it. And I will take it from here, as she later started experiencing some strange events. She began hearing sounds coming from the attic. It sounds like something being dragged up there, and sometimes it was clear heavy knocks. But to calm herself down, she decided to convince herself to believe that it's just the fact that the house is old and mostly wood, so that could result in squeaking sounds sometimes. But then these occurrences kept on repeating, and it began to become much clearer that it isn't just the sounds of an old wooden house. Something messed up is hidden there. After she gathered the courage, she finally picked up her phone and decided to investigate the situation herself. And that takes us to the subsequent recording, in which you could easily tell that these thuds and knocks are caused by either a person or some ghost haunting the venue. After she went up the attic, it was clear that no human trace was to be found. And that's the work of a ghost, and it was further approved after the chair was moved right in front of her. She was looking for a cozy place to feel comfortable at, and she found a place that its owners are looking for someone who is brave enough to live in it and offer them a soul to freak out and entertain themselves. When you see these horror movies, where some strange things occur out of places least expected to encounter strange things, you think to yourself, will I be able to sleep without a blanket covering me tonight after what I have watched? Can I make it to the bathroom? That's at least how I feel, and I should never be alone in this scenario. But when it comes to the real world, what we watch seems a bit too far from reality. I mean, who would in the real world encounter red liquid strangely dripping out of some wall, or some door randomly in an abandoned place? Like, what are the odds for such a thing to occur? Well, I have some unfortunate news for you. The next video is a straight-up horror movie, but in real life, our very beloved paranormal investigator made his way into this abandoned building, which could very possibly be a hotel, or maybe a mansion. Nobody knows for sure, but it doesn't matter what type of building it is. What we care about is what led this investigator to scurry away as fast as he possibly could. The investigation began with him searching the place, not finding anything strange, so he decided to lay down on a bed and relax. Little did he know that would be the only time he would feel comfortable, as some strange sound knocked him off his comfort zone and forced him to leave that bed to look for the source of the sound. But as he proceeded in his investigation, he came across a TV. The only problem is that TV was somehow turned on. Like, what more could you ask for? How about the curtains closing on their own, as if the show just ended? Fast forward into the events. Let's get to the more spicy stuff, where he found footprints on the stairway leading to the second floor. They were colored red too. Up there is when the fantasy met reality, when the beauty met the beast. The red liquid in a terrifying scene began dripping on the doors. Obviously, the man had to evade after such an incident, but when he came back and found the doors clean, he double-checked on one of these rooms, only to be locked in.
It's on 我操你妈的！去你妈逼玩了！我你妈了逼！操，睡觉。滚啊！滚啊！操你妈！哎哎哎哎，靠边啊！操你妈的，还赌！我操你妈！我操你妈！我操你妈！我谁给你的？操！操你妈的！操你妈！你出来来！操你妈！哎！ 我这哎是哎。我操你妈！出来！操你妈的！摇头的出来！啊！哎呦！哎呦！我哎呀！我操！哎呦我的妈了！哎，行了，兄弟们，走走，我知道他给下边的，走走走。我操你妈！你干哈呀？我操！操！我操你妈！哎，我去你妈！我操你妈！我操你！哎呦我操你妈！开门！操！
Without even mentioning the part where he found the bathtub filled with the liquid and a hand visible from under. He must have already evacuated the place before he could see what was behind these closed doors. The footprints were enough. I can't completely explain what the man in the next video has witnessed because I can't really identify the type of creature he has encountered. How rude. We are in 2024 and some gullible person like you still can't tell what is what. How dare you disregard the creature like that? How about you also cancel me? We are talking about something that isn't even clear enough to tell if it's a human or not. Little bro, and I'm not talking about my brother because I'm the little one in the family. Little bro Jimmy in the next video was doing whatever he was doing at night before he was annoyed. Did the neighbor start a party or something? Nope, I don't even think the neighbor is even alive. This is taking a dark turn. Yeah, but it's not fully dark yet because the house next to this man is empty and abandoned. Is that so? How come these noises are coming from that house then? Well, even though I didn't tell you its source yet, you figured it out yourself. Good for you. This is where the creepy part kicks in. Not that you have figured it out, no, but rather the source of the creepy sound Jimmy heard. He went outside to check, and from a distance, an unsettling movement was spotted by the camera, something black peeking from the window of that abandoned house. In the other footage, the security camera had a clearer preview of the activity. It turned out that there was indeed a black figure in that house, and its movement was truly bone-chilling. Jimmy had to take a quick look at the place from the inside during the day just to make sure that no homeless dude was lingering around.
Se oye que están ladrando los perros muy feo. ¿Sí oyen? Vamos a salir. Está haciendo airecito así como que muy... Miren mi gato, ¿dónde está? ¿Ya lo vieron? Está Está haciendo airecito así como que muy agradable, pero los perros sí los oyen, amigos. Se oye así como que da miedo. Mira, es eso lo que se ve ahí en la esquina, mira. Mira. También se mira aquí en las cámaras. Mira, eso. Mira. Y no manches. ¿Qué será? Mira. 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 ¿Ya viste? Miren, amigos. Aquí fue donde se vio esa cosa. Aquí de este lado. Aquí, en esto.
If you watch closely, the way that figure moved felt off, almost like it slid across the room with this weird twist, rather than walking naturally. I'm an adventurer myself, at least that's how I would like to view myself in my own mind, how pathetic and hopeless. But when it comes to venturing into dangerous areas, or at least into areas that have been abandoned for years, I'm not so much of an adventurer. Unless I bring someone with me and something to protect myself with, I ain't stepping any closer to these abandoned places. Austin is a solo explorer who also sometimes goes on group explorations, and he is a solid, brave dude. And after flirting with the man, complimenting him, and before you start thinking that I may have other intentions, let's see where he headed that caused him to end up miserably on this list. Because, let's be real, no hiker or camper would be on the scary videos list unless he did something so stupid it turned out scary. He decided to sleep the night in an abandoned mining settlement in southern BC, where he had to climb the rocks in order to reach the intended spot, the house where he would stay. After finally making it all the way there, he takes a look around to show us the place, as if we were so invested in seeing the decoration. And here comes the first activity that should have alerted the man. Well, there were two incidents before the creepy events started occurring. The first one is the rat. There was a rat so big that I thought he was straight up from Ninja Turtles. The second occasion was the door. He almost swore that the door wasn't supposed to be in the position where he found it. He said he heard it slamming. So far, so cute, nothing out of the blue. As he was preparing for sleep, he decided to set up the motion sensor that detects any movements and alerts you if there are any. Here come the sounds. Heavy thuds and footsteps, as if someone were pounding on these floors, and the alert kept going off over and over again. The night turned into a series of terror events.
Crazy. This is where the miners, after their shift, would come and change. It's since been gutted straight down to the studs. This, I believe, was the mess hall. Okay, so this would have been like the front office or the front desk right here. I wonder if this is a new addition or if this was original to the building. Hello? It's probably just the wind, but I swear I heard a door slam just on the other side here. Very eerie. I bought these little motion sensors. So this is just like your standard convenience store motion sensor. I think it said it did infrared as well as motion. I'm not 100% sure. I will be keeping this receiver in my tent here and moving this sensor to outside. And you can see,
hello, welcome.
When it detects motion, it'll give off this that little chime. So if any animal or any person or anything comes in the middle of the night, I will be able to wake up and deal with the situation before they sort of see me. I'm starting to think the motion sensors weren't the greatest idea. It went off once and like creeped me out, and I went to go check on it. Unfortunately, I didn't film, but now it's silent. But like the fact that like it just went off one singular time and then now it's been silent for like 45 minutes is something. It's like skidding down the stairs. I don't know what that was, but we're gonna go check it out. Whatever it was, it came from downstairs. It sounded like something dropped and fell down the stairs. Could just be the old building. Was this tube always here? There's something over there. I've had enough noises. I've had enough spooks, scares.
Hello, welcome. Hello, welcome. Hello, welcome.
Okay.
Hello, welcome.
Okay, that's like the third time the motion sensor outside has gone off. Drone out some of the noise, but it just makes... Okay, that... I think we need to go investigate that because... But it sounded like it was one of these doors. That's so bizarre, they're all closed. Like... This night just keeps getting weirder and weirder.
I could have easily blamed the rat for setting off the sensor, but let's be real, how massive would that rat need to be to make that kind of noise? And it just so happens that it only got creepy right when you went to sleep. Nah, something's off. Either someone's in the house, or it's haunted. We all have that one dream in our lives, to own our own property, which we have always wished to own someday. Maybe that day will never come, and these house owners will keep inflating these rents on us, but let's keep on dreaming. Maybe this wasn't very motivating, but I'm not here to motivate anyone. No, I'm here to talk about events and cases such as the one in the next sequence. There are people who are far better than me, like Slummy, the famous construction worker on TikTok, who has gained massive popularity due to the ghost haunting his house. This successful man is one of those who had a dream of having his own house. So when he grew up, he became a construction worker and made his dream come true by buying the house he admires. Maybe he made his dream come true, but he was a bit on budget there. The house is royal and fancy, you can describe it as you wish, but you can't convince me to stay one night in it. Do you know why I said he was a bit on budget despite the luxury of the house? Well, when you want to build a house, you will need land, so the land's reputation does play the most important role. And here, where the terrifying tale of the story began. The land is rich, but rich with its dark history. Slummy wasn't aware of that until he had to find out later on his own after he discovered the amount of paranormal activity laying inside this mansion of evil. After he had done his research, he found out that there were many cases of people passing away on this land, and inside the house, as well as improperly discarded remains of people. Now here comes the part that took Slummy from a normal construction worker to a famous social media influencer. He began documenting his case and uploading it to the internet. I have shared some of his videos before, and here are some more I haven't shown, where he captured a figure peeking at him only visibly in the reflection of the glass, or the sounds of objects dropping and doors opening on their own. The lights were changing intensity all of a sudden. Dark shadow figures were passing right in front of him, and he was even pushed off the stairs by some invisible force. The house is haunted to the core.
It's just me. Is anyone else catch with that? Y'all, there's some weird shit going on right now. Not. Somebody was just walking up the driveway. We're gonna go ahead and head outside, but first, Yo. What? I don't even know if that... I think I'm losing my mind right now. Wait a minute. Are y'all serious right now?
Yo. Why the... Yo. Okay. Yeah. No. Yo. What? Yo. Listen, if you're in here, you need to sound off now. Yo. I'm surrounded.
The fancier and more regal a house looks, the more unsettling it feels to me. I just can't deal with those old, royal-style properties at all. Funny enough, I sometimes have nightmares about being in some grand, perfectly maintained mansion that's dripping with luxury, but it's got this eerie vibe, filled with creepy demonic details like strange paintings and whatnot. If you are reading the title on screen and thinking to yourself, why does this guy keep thinking that we actually care about what he writes on the screen? Even though that is not what I had in mind for your inner thoughts, I will pretend like I heard nothing, as if you had said anything in the first place. So you're saying this is where it all started? Are you referring to the miserable day when your mom gave birth to this guy who will grow up to become one of the most disgusting humans on Earth? Well, that's not how I visualize myself, but whatever. No, I wasn't talking about myself. We are talking about Mario. Are you serious? We thought this was a list of the scariest videos caught in 2023, not the history of Mario. Yes, but who told you I was talking about the plumber? I'm not talking about any games here. Mario Lara is a dude who works at a toy shop. He has been featured in this channel multiple times, but it has been long since we have last seen anything from him, and that's obviously due to the fact that he hasn't been putting out any fresh content. But I finally caught him off guard. Did you really? Yes, but how did you get access to his browsing history? I meant I caught him off guard uploading some fresh content. Maybe I didn't use the right words to explain my point. Anyhow, the next video dates all the way back to March of 2007. How refreshing. I thought when you said fresh, you meant something new, not some old video you haven't shown before. This documentary was uploaded by him recently, so learn to be patient before judging. Now you're doomed to listen to the rest. Basically, it's a documentary about Mario and his two friends staying the night in the very toy shop he works at. At first, it was all laughs and cracking jokes until they heard some sounds. Then the light started turning on and off by itself. When they got to the room where the incident took place, the phenomenon stopped, but the light switch won't function as it should. That light bulb later shattered somehow, and it ended with strange noises, followed by a sheet of fabric falling.
¿Y tú? ¿Ya listo? Listo.
No, mi Mario.
Es una cámara viejita.
Creo que todos estamos ansiosos y nerviosos.
¿Tú estás ansioso nervioso?
Sí, la verdad, sí, güey.
Pásense. ¿Cómo se sienten, güey?
Nervioso, ansioso y preocupado por lo que acaba de pasar con el padre.
Octubre es un mes de mucha manifestación. Entonces tampoco queremos que nos vaya a sobrepasar.
Sí, exacto.
¿Sí? Venimos preparados con agua bendita, protegidos. Esta vez yo ya vengo protegido. Instalada es esta. Sí, otra cámara. Está Joshua. Ahorita vamos a instalar una casita porque vamos a acampar en esta parte. ¿De qué?
Para que sepan,
Ah, sí.
esta cámara vamos a ver si funciona el super cepillo de dientes poderoso. Ahí está. Queda comprobado.
Pero.
Cabrón, pero tú no tienes cara bonita.
Vale madre, güey. Vale madre, güey.
No, casi no se ve sin la lámpara.
Oye, güey. Una lámpara. Oye, che, canto. Mario.
¿Qué?
Está apagada la luz, güey. Así es cierto, güey.
¿Ves lo que les digo, güey? Que falla con la... O falla la luz en general de toda la tienda, pero no porque está prendida esta.
Sí, es que no podría ser. Si se hubiera dado la luz, ¿no se habrá fundido? ¿No se habrá fundido?
Es que sí falla, güey. A ver, vamos a... ¿Qué pasó?
Voy a acercarme. ¿Oíste? ¿Quieres escuchar algo de aquí? Como si chistara.
¿Quién anda aquí?
Bueno, pues eso.
Ahorita.
Ahorita dice Mario que ahorita. Ahorita. Pues se siente medio raro. Eso. Pues hay que ir, hay que ir. Dale, cantamos. Dale. Más. Se escucha.
¿Hay alguien ahí?
Ya, toma la cámara. Va, yo grabo.
No, tú primero.
No, no mames, güey, no. Dámela, güey.
Asómala, sí.
No quiero ver.
Ahí está el interruptor.
¿Dónde? ¿Este? ¿Este?
Sí, el de arriba.
Se me hace que esa madre se fundió, güey. Se le está cayendo la pata, güey, pero mira. Nos acomodamos. Sí, sin pedo.
¡Ay! ¡No! No, es que fue esto. Tranquilos.
A ver, ¿cómo se prende la luz? A ver, prende la luz.
Tranquilos,
Madre, güey.
ey.
Está la verga, güey. La verga.
Güey, te dije que no la agarraras, güey. No la debiste de haber agarrado.
Güey, cayó la espalda.
¿Te quemó?
Sí,
Vean.
¿Cómo estás, Cantú?
¿Cómo estás? A ver, hay que revisar, Cantú.
no, pues.
Ey,
Pero vean esto, ven.
ey.
Ya.
Ey.
Se están escuchando cosas.
Cantú. Yocho. No, me está escuchando cosas. ¡No mames! ¡No mames! Se cayó. Sí, el mono estaba brincando. Sí, vi. Estaba brincando. Sí. Cantú. Estaba brincando, güey. El mono. Estaba brincando, güey. Estaba brincando.
Cuidado con la botella.
Estaba brincando el mono ese.
¿Cuál mono, güey?
El que está en el suelo, en el sillón.
Ok, ya. ¿Qué estaba pasando? ¿Qué hizo o qué?
Botella.
Pues ya vámonos para allá, güey. Vámonos para allá.
Vámonos para acá, espérame.
They mentioned some figure they encountered before, goes by the name Padre October. Sure, it sounds like a cool name, but honestly, I don't really get what's so cool about it. When we talk about investigating abandoned places, there are no worse locations than asylums. At least when we talk about abandoned buildings, asylums come first on my list. As if my list is crucial or to be reckoned with, Colton and his team are up for an investigation in a random asylum, with not much information other than the story of Jacob. So, what's with this Jacob dude? Jacob is a boy who is said to have been murdered in the area. I'm not sure if they are referring to the asylum itself as in the area or the location where the asylum is built on. Nonetheless, he doesn't play a big role in the investigation. I mean, the boy has already passed away. How could he play any role in the investigation? Well, maybe his spirit may manifest. Colton began using the EMF detector near an elevator, if I'm not mistaken, and he was confused about the drawings on one of the walls. But the EMF detector was incapable of receiving any signals in specific areas for some reason. And then we discovered that there may be a clear reason why that could be the case when a faint voice was caught. The faint voices don't stop there. As of later in the investigation, while one of the team members was trying to get some signals or signs from the EMF device while chilling on the chair, more faint voices were caught, followed up by strange sounds that he heard this time, causing him to step out of his chair and continue the investigation. The problems began escalating little by little and reached their peak once he discovered that the Halloween decoration is still where it is, at least at the part where it peaked for me. Look, I don't know if these figures dressing in black cloaks were all part of the decoration, but they were so creepy, and I believe one of them might have moved. In the end, the whole team went downstairs to the bowling alley that was in the building for some reason and used a doll as a way of communication. That doll found it funny to blink like a creep.
Oh, that's a weird looking wall. It's not the wall. Seems like you're right here. What's in there? Seems like you're right here. What's in there? Don't know.
Hey, Rebecca. I'm on the 3rd floor. Supposedly where you took your own life. I'm really sorry you had to go through that. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hey. What the?
Hello?
Anyone in here willing to talk to me? That's crazy looking.
What the? Hey. Okay, the Halloween is starting to creep me the out. Like, yeah. Obviously, this place is not in use. I know that there is some haunted house stuff going on, but walking around the corner seeing this when you're in a building alone.
Jacob, if you don't come out, you're gonna be in trouble.
Oh. Some cold just like went around the wall. Oh. Some cold just like went around the wall. Probably like 5 feet in front of us from what this thing's saying. Holy, the whole thing is lit now.
Man.
It's going crazy.
Oh, and it's giving us a reading. Look, see this part? It's picking up movement.
Come a little closer.
I really hope this is Jacob. Whoa.
What's up?
I know you guys just saw that light orb.
I did not.
It just went from right to left right across the grave.
Did it?
It's about the size of my fist.
Come a little closer.
I really hope this is Jacob. Whoa.
What's up?
I know you guys just saw that light orb.
Can you please do it again? You said Jacob, and you saw an orb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you light it up one more time before we go? We appreciate the fact that you lit it up for us. Can you just light it up maybe red to say goodbye? Or on my side? Yeah, do it on the right side. That doll's kind of creeping me out though. Hear that? Above us. Dude, that's like a drag. Like a desk drag. Like a drag.
Or you could always make this doll blink.
If the doll blinks, I swear to God, I'm out that door.
Yeah.
Where do they get these dolls? Like I know all baby dolls are haunted for a fact. Even I had one when I was a kid. Lucky for me, my doll had its eyelashes removed due to me being a heavy-handed boy back then when I was playing with it. Not that long ago, I featured the lady in the next video and discussed her story, if any. Basically, she has moved into this house recently, and based on the decor and design of it, it does look pretty old. Just check the pipes in the bathroom, and you will get a clear idea of what I'm referring to. So, how should we be able to see her bathroom? Do you have the location? Just watch the clips and you will find out exactly what I'm saying. Anyway, the house does have a bit of a creepy vibe, just like all old houses, for some reason. The last time I watched her videos, it was very clear to me that she isn't dealing with a basic level of paranormal activities. No, she has the pro subscription. In other words, the intensity of the activity is on the scale of reaching a level of danger, which means she shouldn't tolerate it and should take action as soon as possible. To give you a clearer idea of how bad things are, I just couldn't move my neck that day at all. Sorry, I must have mixed up my story with hers. The intensity of the paranormal activity in her house reached a point where there were things completely new to me. Yes, the man who has been making videos about this topic for 4 years has not come across an activity where drops of the red liquid we are all familiar with come out of nowhere, right in front of the person watching. And to make things worse, this lady has a statue of a cat right on the fireplace's mantle. It was dripping out. Heck, even the fireplace is haunted. The door of that thing was being knocked on, which isn't the only door that is being knocked on in the house. The bathroom's door is up there with it. The bathroom itself is filled in general, and I don't mean filled with people pooping. It was filled with different activities. From the door closing on its own and shaking to the toilet lid, the cat was fighting with an invisible force while the drawers were playing Catch Me If You Can.
izquierda. ¡Ey! ¡Ey!
In a house like that, there's really no hope. If you ask me, the only hope she has is making it out in one piece. The moment that statue started dripping from its eyes. That would have had me packing up and heading straight to my parents' place or a hotel until I found somewhere new to live. About 2 months ago, I was supposed to book a reservation. Wait, wrong script. About 2 months ago, I met a man called Jermaine. He is an Argentinian fella, and you know me. I love the Argentinian national football team, but that's not the reason I have featured the man. Despite my favoritism and me being biased towards their nationality, the reason he was here in the first place due to his investigation in the cemetery, in which he stumbled upon a precious finding. Did he actually find a treasure? Yeah, a cursed treasure, one that will bring darkness into his life. It was a Ouija board, and a stylish one too. It was colored black. It had some extra demonic sense to it, as there were some demonic drawings on the back of the board. So, when you find such an item in a terrifying place, maybe cemeteries aren't terrifying indeed, but we are scared of them nonetheless, and don't try to act tough there. I see you. I throw you in one of these cemeteries with a bad reputation for a whole night alone, and let me see you walking out the same person you were moments before you entered. Jermaine decided to take that board home, despite all the hints he was given as to why he shouldn't have brought it home. This is where the paranormal party began, and he was the only man invited. That was clearly cringe, but believe me, he was alone in this situation. As he was once sleeping like any normal creature should do, something unexplained awakened him. His bladder. No, the heavy knocks on his wooden ceiling. It was loud enough to wake a bear on his hibernate. Then the door of his bedroom slammed open as a message was conveyed to tell him, "Step out of your room. I have something special to show you." When he left his bedroom, he found a mess. The Ouija board and other stuff were thrown on the floor. In another video, his entrance door was being knocked on and shaken like crazy while there was fire ignited in my heart. I mean, while there was fire in the other room, which seems to have the shape of a smiley face.
Escuchen, escuchen, escuchen. Esos son los sonidos que le hablé. Justo de madrugada, escuchen. Nadie me va a decir que esos son gatos. Escuchen. Son pasos. Son pasos. Ok. Ok. ¿Quién anda ahí? Hay luz. Ok. Está la puerta abierta. ¡Hey! ¿Quién está ahí? Ok. Voy a buscar la pistola. ¿Qué? ¿Quién anda ahí? Mierda. ¿Qué mierda? ¿Quién anda ahí? Mierda. Esto, chicos. Esto es lo que les he hablado. De las cosas que están pasando acá en la casa. Ouija. Miren, 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 miren. ¿Qué quiere? ¿Qué quiere? Está la sal. No puedes pasar porque está la sal. No puedes pasar porque está la sal. ¡Hey! Mierda. Quiere entrar. Está la sal. ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué quiere? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué mierda es eso? Miren la sal. Cortó la luz. ¿Qué es eso? Dios. ¿Qué mierda es esa?
Correct me if I'm mistaken, but didn't I see a shadow moving behind that shaking door? Regardless, if Jermaine is still anxious about holding on to that board, he might want to consult a doctor. They say when you already have a clear sign of something, like, let's say, in a relationship, when you get a sign that something is clearly off, she isn't behaving the same way she used to, you know then you should be ready for a surprise later on. Or let's keep things relevant to the topic. Let's say you went to investigate some abandoned place, and while you were on it, you heard some strange noise near you in the same area, and you know for sure that you're the only one around. Solitude at its peak. Whether it's a homeless dude, a gang member, or a ghost, it's your sign to evade. You may never get a chance later, or you may not leave the same way you entered. But in the next video, we have a guy, and let me give him a name because I get tired of calling them a guy and a dude. Jason is an investigator type of man, and he one day decided to explore some anonymous place, somewhere on hills from what it seems. The first time he ventured his way there, he came across something bone-chilling, something that would send a grown man back to school, scary enough to make that grown man go back in time. Jason encounters a deceased person. I think I have said enough, but unfortunately, we don't have the video where he found that person. Why waste our time when the next video is talking about a completely different experience? And who said that? Jason decided to come back and document this time around. On his way, he spotted bonfire from a distance, indicating that the location could be a place for those who do some demonic rituals and such. When Jason finally reached the area where he encountered the person the first time, he found some weird person beside him wearing a cloak and in the middle of a ritual, which sent Jason running miles for his safety.
Disculpen ustedes si llego a decir alguna barbaridad, pero es que digo que ando medio tomadito. Ando tomadito y ya saben cómo es eso, ¿no? Pero bueno, vamos aquí, camino a la casa por la avenida Gran Canal. Yo lo que quiero ver es una víbora. Vean hasta allá cómo se ve. La verdad ya no he querido hacer exploraciones porque luego sí Bueno, yo pienso que hasta uno se saca de onda, ¿no? Porque ves puras, cabrón, llamando, asustando yo solito ahí con uno de los tubos que está ahí. A ver, ahí va. Todo el mundo se va a ver al frente. Luego uno se asusta a lo menso. Y yo pienso que eso es lo que me pasa, porque yo sí me asusto un montón. Pero ahorita como que no tengo miedo. Bueno, ya, vámonos. De este lado está una fábrica. A ver si no me ven. Eso es lo que me asustó, ese palo. Ese poste, no sé qué sea. Pues vamos. Miren de este lado. Voy a meter en un caminito. En un lugar así fue cuando... Ay, güey. Hasta parece que es un pinche muerto, pero no. En un lugar así fue cuando encontré al muerto. Y hay muchos caminos, miren, para allá. Para allá hay otro. Miren, miren. ¿Ya vieron cómo se ve la luz? A ver si se alcanza a ver. Se alcanza a ver como una fogata. Ya casi llegamos. Vamos a ver a la banda, a ver. ¿Saben qué se me ocurre? Irles a preguntar. A ver si si ellos han escuchado alguna historia de terror. Chingue su madre, creo que alguien me la tira. Ah, no sé si yo. A ver si la tranza, banda. ¿Se puede? Banda. Se alcanzan a ver luces ahí. Bandita. ¿Se puede, carnales? Banda. Me está prendido ahí. Ya han de estar durmiendo esos güeyes. ¿Qué onda, amigos? Ya llegué a mi cantón. Vengo corriendo como 2 kilómetros y para mi condición está bien cabrón. Oh, estuvo bien culero. La neta, ¿saben qué? Que no me confío de ese güey que me encontré porque al chile yo siento que era de los mismos.
He even had to mention how many kilos he approximately had to run to make it to safety. But here's a suggestion. Why won't you call the police in this situation? Or does the police try to stay away from these cases where you live? If you have been following me for the last 12 months, then please stop it. I have been feeling like I'm being followed for quite a while, but I can't find out if it's true or not. But seriously, if you have been following me for the last 12 months, you know that there is a relationship between Justin and Selena. I mean, a relationship between the channel and the puppet. It's something weird that I came up with to give the channel more personality. So why did I bring that up? 'Cause I can't keep it down. To me, all puppets and mannequins or dolls are all possessed. Even if it's not. It's like these things were made to be haunted, to cause problems. And that's exactly the situation our man Daniel is me is facing. Daniel isn't my real name. Daniel is me. That's the account name of this dude. Dan lives with his mom. What a loser. And his mom is obsessed with puppets and dolls and anything that can fuck up Daniel's life, so he would have to leave his mom's house. I mean, it is a smart way to kick your son out, so you can finally rest and live alone. But why? What's so smart about her plan? Think about it. What's more haunting than having dolls and mannequins everywhere in the house? Now or later, something demonic will happen. Something like tapping sounds. Something like a trap. You know, someone is knocking on the door, so you go and check, only to be surprised that no one is there. And when you turn around, you feel like one of these mannequins is staring at you, so you freeze in your place, only for the door to be slammed hard on your back and you hit the wall face first. Okay, maybe I over-exaggerated the last part, but not all of it. But when you check the security cameras, you're greeted by one of these dolls blinking at you.
This is my daughter, Lady Mary Talk. You as the rest of us are not Riviera, but I hope you enjoy yourself. Yes. I went over to America 10 years ago to try my luck, and I've been there ever since. They call us the Hollywood Ride. Last time I was there.
I'm terrified. I swore I saw the doll blinking. Had to take a closer look.
Okay, so the other thing that really creeps me out, that I do not like, but I will show you guys, is in my sister's old room, or I guess still room. Dollhouse. I don't know how to explain it. The only thing I can say that has happened with it is sometimes when I walk by, or like I go, the bathroom's back there, and I walk through and I hear like tapping coming from this room. It's like it's like yeah, it's like I know it's coming from like this room, and so I come in here and then it usually stops, except for like maybe 3 nights ago. Like the tapping kept happening, and I came over and I was trying to figure out like where it was coming from, but it was coming from this dollhouse, and I don't know where. And it hasn't done it since. Like, why is it so intricate? It's like, I don't know. Freaks me out.
Honest to God, bro, would y'all believe me if I said this place is haunted? I know some of you may not believe in ghosts and stuff, but I've been seeing some creepy as she here. I even see weird unexplained she happen in my house. My mom likes to collect vintage dolls and other antiques, and I think she may have brought a cursed item or something because our house hasn't been the same since. I'm scared, like for real, for real. We even got she captured on camera that'll give you goosebumps in unimaginable places. I'm inclined. Okay, it's official. I'm getting rid of this. The mini figurines are moving. Like what?
Guys. Do you hear that? Those are the tapping noises I was talking about. Where is this coming from? It's like knocking at the door. Hello?
You know what's hilarious? This dollhouse has more space than the actual place I'm living in right now. And don't even get me started on the furniture. It's nicer too. How embarrassing is that? I have seen crazy ladies walking around streets before, in neighborhoods and malls, even in my dreams. It's normal to encounter such types of people every now and then. Actually, I would be more happy to interact with these kinds of people on a regular basis, as it would be fun just knowing that they are the problem no matter what. So are you telling us you're just an annoying adult with the brain of a child? No, I just like to have some fun from time to time. But these kinds of people, whom some call Karens, are still physically not a threat. But what I found for you in the next video is the ultimate boss, the one mother of all this kind, or at least one of the mothers, and you won't really expect where they would be lying around. Since these kinds of creatures, or these kinds of humans, are special with extra features, they are creepy in nature. Not only are they naturally creepy, but they are creepy in real outside nature. How is that though? We have a group of friends, and just like every other investigation heading to a random forest, the main character here is a dude named Sias. He is a Dutch dude, so expect words to be extremely unsatisfying to listen to. The language isn't easy to understand. They went to the forest, and they crossed the line this time around, as they decided to enter the campsite section that they shouldn't have. The backstory of the abandoned campsite, once likely a vibrant recreational area, now stands deserted, shrouded in mystery and neglect. Its abandoned state hints at a forgotten past, possibly with tales of past events or activities that contributed to its demise. As they went inside, they started hearing scary screams. Little did they know a crazy lady wearing a robe would come out of nowhere, wielding something in her hand, and ran towards them at full speed. They scurried away, but Sias was separated from the rest until the police arrived after he called them.
We gaan een plek zoeken om even te parkeren hier langs de baan. Wat hoort je? Een hond hoort je blaffen. Dit is wel spannend, ja. Wacht, ik heb hoor. Echt. Oh man. Dit is. Dat is een mechelaar of zo. Nee.
Daar gaan we niet op af, hè?
Ja, ja, hoor die hond, ja. Hier is de ingang. De poort.
Ja, dat staat echt duidelijk privaat op.
Privaat, dit is een plaats van gebed. Gelief onze ruimte respecteren. Gebed.
Mogen wij hier wandelen?
Hoort je het? Die deur, die wint niet. Ik hoorde zo.
Nee, dat was een beest.
Zeker?
Ja.
Oh,
nee.
Wat is dat?
Dat was een deur.
Dat is een deur, hè?
Hallo?
Kijk, de wind ook gaan, ja.
Scariest,
Oh. Dus ja, hier gaat iemand wonen gewoon nog. Dat kan toch niet aan? Hoezo? Wat? Oh. Dat is toch niet mijn auto of zo, hè? Hier, maat. Hier wordt letterlijk iemand gemarteld. Hier wordt letterlijk iemand gemarteld in dat bos. Dit is heel Daar is geen licht, kijk. Daar is geen licht. Dat is heel Hallo? 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 What the Hey! Wat? Kom. 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 Wat is dit? Ja, wacht. Hallo? Hallo? Je moet nu naar hier komen. Ik hoor u niet, sorry. We zijn... Hallo? Ja, we zitten hier in een bos in de Centerlo. We zijn hier in een bos en dat is een verlaten bungalowpark. En ineens komt er een man. Ja. Ja.
Moet je even uw jas open doen? Jas open doen, ja. Goed, omdraaien. Dat is andersom. Uw jas open, jas omhoog.
Omhoog?
Ja, kijken dat je niks op staat hebt.
Ja, die is ervan afgetrokken.
Stop daar eens. Maar dit is gewoon... Hey, kalm!
Klein busje.
Ligt er niet aan. Oh, die zit zo leuk. Mevrouw, het is de laatste keer. Hier blijven. Maar wat is het? Je gaat hier blijven. Ofwel moet ik mee met mijn vrouw mee, ofwel moet ik hier blijven.
Ja, dat is luisteren. Goed? Vanaf nu luisteren naar mij.
Nee.
You know what's the craziest part? The fact that the cops released the lady without any charges at all. Not a single mention of it. Even the news picked up on this video. It's wild. Don't blame me for laughing at the next video at one point. It's a really scary experience the investigator in the next video has gone through, but I laughed at his reaction. I know you're lost in my words right now, but I promise I will find you and rescue you from the confusion. With the stupid stuff out of the way, let's see what Ahmed had gone through during his investigation. From the get-go, and even before he put feet inside the house, he was already hearing sounds from the inside, so something was already messed up. And he wasn't wrong, as when he got inside, these sounds became more apparent, turning out that the doors were all on a night of their own, swinging around in front of Ahmed like a show-off. But of course, that was not a fun experience. Ahmed decided to bring out the inner genius he has been keeping in check all this long, and he said that the house has something to do with the glass in it and that the solution to the hauntings of it relies on breaking all the glass to be found in the house. So he started his mission to break any glass he could find. He picked a stick to do so since he tried to throw stuff at the glass to break it but realized that he might just be strabismic, so he used a stick instead and kept a hold of it for long. But whenever he encounters a door moving on its own, he tries to charge at it, but he does so while stuttering out of fear. At some point, he captured the head of a dark figure from behind one of these doors for a glimpse of a moment, but it all came down to the end, where the jinn knocked him down from behind.
في حدا ولا نحول ولا ايش؟ في حدا؟ في حدا وقف صح؟ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. في حدا هون؟ اليوم أنا راح أسوي شغلة لأول مرة في حياتي راح أعملها داخل بيت مهجور. في شو وقع أو خبط. إيه؟ أيوة أيوة حلو كثير. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله. حلو كثير. بدهم يسكروا علي والله بدهم يسكروا علي والله. لكسر كل القزاز. في اشي غريب في البيت هذا من وراء هاي القصة قسما بالله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. هيو حلو كثير. هذا بتحدى فيه على فكرة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يما بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ورب الكون ورب الكون ورب الكون انه انكسر القزاز فتح الباب. انا طابقه طبق يما قلبي. والله انا مو مسترجي، والله ما انا مسترجي افوته. هي طلع هي شايفينها. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. يا حبيبي.
He said he stayed on the ground for some time before he was able to move again, and that he had to crawl on his belly all the way out to evade the place because he was in such a horrible state after he got cocked down. Do you remember a dude whom I featured a while ago whose name is Sam? Now I know how shocking this may be to you to find out how stupid I am to ask about someone and only give his name, especially since each video contains 5 different videos of different people. But let me explain. We don't want you to justify your actions. We are already fed up with the level of stupidity you have reached. I'm not trying to justify myself. I meant, let me tell you about this Sam dude. First things first, this man made it so clear that his name is Sam. His channel on YouTube is called My Name is Sam. Moving forward, back then, when I last featured him, I only showed some of his videos, and today, I'm back for vengeance to show you more. So you're finally open for an OF account. I meant to show you more of Sam's scary paranormal experience. One day, Sam was on a walk around his property. I don't know why he decided that it's best to search around the house in the middle of the night, but the dude is free to do whatever he wants. As he made it back to the house and before entering, he spotted something odd from the outside window, something that creeped him out. Please don't tell us the demonic figure held his child hostage and was threatening the man. Where do you get these ideas from? Absolutely not. He found what seemed to be a dark figure. It was blurry, but it was there, and that's what mattered to Sam. So he ran back inside and went upstairs only to find no one. But it got even scarier the next night when the electricity was cut off, even though no one messed with the electricity switches down in the basement. Then, later that same night, he hears what sounds like knocking downstairs, and when he goes back to the basement, he finds the door of the washing machine opened. He was confused and scared, so he dared these spirits to shut the door right in front of him, and so they delivered. In the end, Sam finally decides to leave, at least temporarily, while leaving his children under his friend's wings. I feel like I'm talking about some eagles. Nonetheless, the figure didn't let loose of this dude, so it made things even worse and made sure it would leave the place beside him.
I just lost power in my house. I looked down the road and I saw lights on, so I think it's just me. I'm gonna go down to the breaker box and see what's up. You stay here, I'm gonna go get the power back on, okay? Everything looks okay. I guess I'm gonna have to call the power company. These were closed. These were 100% closed. I never leave these open. If there's someone or something here, I want you to prove it to me. I want you to close one of these doors. Come on! Oh, if I'm being honest, I'm glad nothing happened. Holy sh! Oh my God. Hey. Yeah, I just wanted to call and say again, thank you for taking Buddy and Jessica for a few days. Yeah, I just gotta get out of this house for a little bit. Yeah, I'm fine. Listen, I gotta get going. I gotta go check into the hotel in about an hour. Alright, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
When I found out Sam has kids, my immediate thought was that he's probably divorced, which, if you think about it, means this figure could actually be his ex-wife in disguise. Unless, of course, she's passed away and divorce was never even on the table to begin with. I have talked about people living near cemeteries before. In fact, I have done so in the last video if I'm not mistaken, and I have done so for a good reason, a reason related to ghosts and haunting, but I have never thought that I would have to give similar advice right away. A lot of people seem to be uneducated on the topic of ghost hauntings, unfortunately, but you know what the lyric says, there is a starman waiting in the sky, and I should imitate that dude. All jokes aside, if you can even call them jokes, the next man. And I don't know how I should talk about the next man. Should I feel sorry for him, or should I be a little harsh on him like a caring father who doesn't care about milk? Why, you may ask. Well, he lives in a cemetery, and you heard that right. I'm not over-exaggerating or adding in spice to the story to make it seem more intense than it already is. The man isn't investigating the place, nor does he live nearby it. He lives right in the middle of it. I don't know if he works there or not, but his house is right in the center. Like, how terrifying is it to be living around and sleeping knowing that hundreds of people are buried all around you? And as if you couldn't already tell, even without mentioning a single word about what this man had gone through, you should definitely feel the storm. As of one of the videos, he usually does some investigations around the area at night. One night, he and his friend spotted what looked to be a person walking around the tombstones, dressed in black, looking like a shadow figure. He was walking like a creep, hiding behind walls and corners, almost disappearing, while you can hear loud sounds of cats hissing like demons, with crowing sounds too. But don't worry, the house itself isn't a safe zone either, as the man was shaking of fear while his house appliances and equipments were falling apart.
Mi gente, miren, me encuentro en mi casa, miren que no hay absolutamente nada, y me encuentro como medio raro, no sé qué es lo que está pasando, pero en verdad, no sé qué es lo que está pasando, mi gente, en mi casa hoy. Miren, señores, miren, me siento como que no sé, como que hay algo raro, miren, en mi habitación hoy. Por favor, necesito que me ayuden. Hoy siento esto. Miren, estoy solo en mi casa. Miren, estoy solo en mi casa, papá Dios. Y siento como que se mueve toda la cosa. Oh, Dios mío, se apagó la luz. Necesito a alguien que me ayude. Oh, Dios mío. Señores, ¿quién está viendo esto? Por favor, compártanlo. Miren, estoy solo en mi habitación, pero siento como no sé, como que se caen las cosas. Oh, papá Dios. Señores, miren. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder, señores. Recuerden que me encuentro aquí en mi casa, mi gente, en el cementerio, Cristo Redentor. Miren eso. Ay, mi madre, señores. Miren. Miren esa sombra. José, ¿la viste, José? Ay, mi madre. ¿Eh?
¿Tú viste eso? Mira.
¡El diablo! Ven. ¡El diablo! ¿No tuviste cómo gritó esa vaina? Mírala ahí. Mírala ahí, José. Mira.
Es una bruja, Carlos.
¿Una bruja?
Sí, es una bruja.
Espérate.
Loco, oye.
Espérate.
Pues, oye, bien.
Oye, viernes son las 12.
Y las 12:07. Mírame.
Vamos a verla, ven. Vamos. Ven, vamos a ver, ven. Es una bruja. Mírala ahí, mira. Mira por dónde va. Mírala ahí. Mira. José, espérate. Ven. ¿Lo viste, José? ¿Lo viste? Señores, miren lo que está pasando en el frente de mi casa. Miren, esa es mi casa.
Oye, Carlos. Carlos, no te pegues, loco.
Mira por dónde va. Ven. Ven, José, ven. Mira por dónde va. Espérate. Miren. Espérate. El diablo. Oye, cómo grita. Señores, compartan esto, mi gente. Compartan esto.
Carlos, mira.
Compartan esto, mi gente.
No te pegues.
No. Ven. Miren, me encuentro en el patio de mi casa, mi gente. Espérate. Mírala ahí, ¿por dónde va? La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Ven, José, lo ven. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. José, ¿para dónde cogió? ¿Para dónde cogió, José? Óyela. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder.
Carlos, pues si cogió para dentro de tu casa.
¿Para dentro de la casa?
Está abierta tu casa, mira.
Vamos a ver, ven. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Mira, por dónde va. Se fue. Es mi madre, Joselo. Mírala ya. Me encuentro en el patio de mi casa, mi gente. Y miren lo que está pasando en el patio de mi casa. Espérate. Ven. Vamos a dejarla, Joselo. Mira.
Mira la mata cómo se
Mira
mueve.
la mata cómo se mueve.
Oye.
Ay, mi madre.
¿Por qué subiste así?
Ven. ¿Te quieres pegar un chin?
No, Carlos, aquí. Mira.
Mira. Ven.
Ven, Carlos.
Ven. Déjame ver. ¿Tú viste? ¿Ya se fue? Mírala ahí. Mierda, no se ve bien por el foco. Mi gente, compartan esto. Mi gente. Dejen sus comentarios. ¿Quién lo vio? Ay, Dios mío, la sangre de Cristo tiene poder. José, lo vamos ya.
You know, when you hear cats hissing like that, especially the way they did in the video, it's a clear sign there's probably a jinn nearby, assuming the cats themselves aren't the jinn in disguise. Let's talk about our haunted house. And nobody, I'm not referring to my own house, nor am I referring to some house under the name of me and my followers. That's what Thomas calls his account, where he uploads tapes of his haunted home and his encounters. At the early stages of the scary events, it started when his dog began behaving a bit less dogly. In other words, he began acting funky, somewhat unnerving. He was barking at nothing. And as I said once and I will say it again, when these pets are running randomly like demons or when they start staring at random areas out of the blue, you know they are up to no business. In fact, they are most likely running from what they don't understand. Isn't that the same case with us as humans when we run from our bills and taxes? No, this is a different level of horror. Thomas's dog was barking at what we couldn't see, and Tom was not having it. So when he started looking around, and from his window, he captured a human-like figure standing by the entrance door like the customizable character in video games. The figure was creepy, but I don't know why it was in the default stance. One cold night in December, with the decoration for Christmas, Tom heard some strange noise, and he began investigating. But after a couple of loops around, he came up with the conclusion that they were playing with him, and if I'm not mistaken, these ghosts changed the position of the Christmas toys. But to get more dramatic, let's see how these shadow figures that he caught on camera behave, because it's an interesting behavior in my opinion. Despite the creepy nature of their existence in his house, the way they move around and glow their red eyes on and off in the darkness is only a sign of one thing. These shadow figures think they are the main antagonists in some horror movies. Like one of them even interrupted Tom while he was sleeping on the couch.
What the hell just happened?
My dog just started barking. Let's see. Holy sh! There's somebody out there.
I keep catching it watching me.
At first I heard a noise. So I went to investigate. Then I realized he's just playing with us.
Recorded myself watching TV for over an hour. The shadow man took the bait. Just wait.
I'm not so flashy when it comes to haunted house footage, so when I see such encounters of shadow figures, the first thing that turns me off is if the way they appear seems dramatic. And if pets weren't causing enough problems in previous videos related to ghost encounters, here comes another one. This one is not completely centered around a dog's reaction to a ghost figure since the dog himself isn't present in the clip, but he was somehow involved. So what did he do to cause trouble this time? Who? You mean the dog? Of course we are talking about the dog. Who else would we be asking about? Well, the family AJ, and I hope I pronounce his name correctly, if it's even his name to begin with, heard their dog screaming outside. Screaming, you say? Yeah, what's so strange about that? Nothing, but dogs usually bark, not scream. The situation was so intense and terrifying for him that he forgot he was a dog and had to abandon his mother nature behavior for a minute just to get the most attention. Why? What did he see? And when did I say I was a human's best friend? In other words, who told you I was a dog and had a relationship with AJ's dog? They said he was suspecting a presence of some sort, so the family thought maybe there was an intruder, so they hurried up to check the security cameras, and they could have wished they hadn't. An intruder wasn't present in the location. It was worse. A creepy, ghostly white figure was captured going back and forth in the backyard. But if you think the misery was done there, in the second clip, a shadow figure, a black one this time, was inside the house walking the same exact way the other figure was, and seems to be causing the phone on the couch to glitch and the curtain to move. The curtain movement isn't clear if it was paranormal or natural.
Hello guys, Aji po pala. Pinapakita ko lang sa inyo guys kung ano yung nakuha ng CCTV namin noong 2019 pa. Ayan, October 14, 2019. So, ngayon ko lang siya binidyoan or pinakita sa inyo kasi hinanap ko talaga tong video na to, yung record ng CCTV namin noon sa bahay ng parents ko. So, ayan, ipapakita ko sa inyo guys kung ano yung nakuha ng CCTV namin. Tingnan nyo guys sa 10/29/17. Okay? Tingnan nyo dito, may lalabas dito na parang usok, tapos mabilis siyang papunta dito. Okay, wait natin mag-17. Okay, wait lang natin 17 seconds. Ayun. Okay, back natin 17. Tingnan nyo dito. Ayun. Kita nyo? Ulitin natin. 17. Ayun, sobrang bilis niya. Tapos yung pangalawang nagpakita siya is 10:30. Ayan, tingnan nyo dito, mag-20 dyan. Tapos sa time na to, parang lumalakad na lang siya. Tingnan nyo, parang usok. Tapos, nawala siya dito. Balik natin. Ayan. Diba? Sa mga hindi pa naniniwala na may mga espiritu talaga na gumagala sa bahay natin, sa labas man o loob ng bahay. So ito na, pinakita ko na. Okay, tingnan natin ulit. Sa part na to, ayan. Yan. Diba? Pangalawang, yung unang nagpakita siya is 29/17. Okay. Ayan. Sobrang bilis. Yun. Diba? Ito guys, sinend ito ng followers natin sa TikTok pagkatapos nung nakita niya yung video natin. Okay, kaya sinend niya to. Okay? Ito guys, mas nakakatakot to. Tingnan niyo yung phone niya. Di ba patay? Tapos ito, kung nakita nyo, dumaan siya dito and then umandar yung yung phone. Kita nyo? Pumunta siya dito and then bumalik siya. Okay, balik muna natin. Dito yung electric fan. Dadaan siya dito. Ayan. Diba? Nandito siya galing. Tapos, babalik siya. Diba? Okay? Nandito siya galing. And then, pumunta siya dito. Okay? Yan yung mabuti yung phone. Ayan. Ayan, bumalik siya. Tapos yung phone, umaandar pa rin. Nakikita nyo? Yung mabuti. Diba? So, ayan siya. Ayan. Di natin alam, parang tinitignan niya. Okay. Mas nakakatakot to guys nung isang video ko na in-upload dito sa TikTok. Okay, shoutout pala sa isang followers natin. Yun yung mabuti. Dito siya. Tingnan nyo, dadaan siya dito. Sa electric fan. Yun, kita nyo? Balik natin. Dito siya, balik natin. Dadaan siya dito. Ayun. So, ganun lang guys. Pero yung phone, nag-on pa din. Nakakatakot.
The shadowy figure gives off serious female vibes, probably because only they would snoop through someone else's phone like that. Just speculation though, so no offense ladies. What is more fun than watching over a closed door until, all of a sudden, it opens by itself? It must be a very exciting experience until you realize there is no wind outside or inside the house. So how was that door able to open by itself? And wait just there. It was closed, which means no wind can perform such activity. But hold up, why am I smelling a burned fuse near me, even though the doctor said it will take 1 more week before I can smell again? So are you saying that we are about to watch a door opening by itself, or more like by a strigen? And what's a strigen? Is it a combination between a gin and a string? Are you hinting at something? Yes, in fact, I have been hinting at my delivery guy for the past 30 minutes, and he still couldn't find my house. Regarding the next video, no, it's not just the door. We have more paranormal activities. Like in the kitchen, there was a beat going on as the refrigerator and the cabinets were all having a festival of going back and forth to each other. The horror doesn't end there, if you can even call it that, as in one of the rooms, the drawer closet was on earthquake mode. But the fun part hasn't begun yet. What? Are you saying there is a second round? But I'm wobbling and barely have enough energy. What are you talking about? I'm not a lady in your bedroom. Mike was trying his best to not sound trashy with his instrumental skills, but luckily he was stopped by the door.
Grab that at the moment. See, there's nothing back there. A bit of a mess in here.
That moment when the door swung back and forth in front of Mike was easily the strangest paranormal event I've witnessed. How so? It's not like I haven't seen this type of thing before. It's just bizarre how it was moving so smoothly. When it comes to overreacting to strange or scary situations, the team in the next video nailed it. Even I couldn't live up to their standards. I have not seen a video before of someone overreacting to an event that could be visualized as somewhat eerie, but I may excuse them for the sake of the context behind the place they are investigating. It's an under-construction plaza that has been abandoned for about 20 years due to mysterious events, including reports of spontaneous fires and sightings of a black cat. And it could also be built above a cemetery because they mentioned buildings built on cemeteries, so that might also be a part of this plaza's history. Regardless, they are here to prove whether these rumors are true or not, and what they came up with was somewhere of an approval to these claims. At least it was an approval to them more than it was to us. That may sound confusing, since the video is supposed to document the events, and since I said it was an approval, then there should be events clarifying that next. Yeah, but because of their bad usage of their cameras, or maybe due to their bad video editing, we couldn't see most of the events the way they saw them. As for the investigation, it didn't take long before the first paranormal event occurred, where they heard a sound of something dropping, and it was a rock, as there were no other things to be thrown that could make such noise. But what caused them fear the most was the fire. Why would they be scared of fire? Haven't they discovered it yet? Of course they are familiar with fire, but they were afraid because there is no element or source of energy that could have lit up some fire around. Like, how could a candle be lit up in such a place without someone putting their dirty hands on it? Wait, the candle part was a way for the investigator to provoke the spirits since they lit up fire multiple times. It ended with some strange heavy thuds, as if there was an elephant in the building.
EMF मैंने ऑन किया हुआ है। ये क्या वो दिखाओ रिजवान जल्दी। पत्थर यहाँ से एक सेकंड है। ये ऊपर ये तो नहीं गिरी है, देखो ये देख के जरा, ये अदनान देख के ये जगह, क्योंकि ये यहाँ से वो सामने वो सामने सामने आ सकते हो? थर गिरा है ये अभी। वो इधर आओ बाहर। वो इधर आओ बाहर। ये आग कैसे लगी हुई है? उधर दिखाना है यार अदनान। अल्लाहु अकबर। पीछे आ जा, पीछे 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 पीछे। ना जरा देख के यहाँ भी पता नहीं क्या क्या चीजें हैं। ये भी वॉशरूम कुछ भी नहीं बना प्रॉपरली। नाज़िन ये दिखाना जरा। ये कैसे आ गई आगे? इधर ये जूम कर ये भी लगी है। इधर आओ, इधर आओ। ये जूम कर, जूम कर, जूम। ये भी लगी है नाज़रीन, ये अभी हमारे सामने आग लगी है। ये देखा, जूम ही रहे। दिस इज अनबिलीवेबल। हमारे होते हुए ये कपड़े को आग लग रही है, और ये मुझे पहले नहीं हुआ कभी। कौन है यहाँ पे? वो यार, आर यू सीरियस? पीछे दांत, पीछे हो जाओ। वो देखते हैं खुद चलती है, ये चमका रहा है। ये देखें, दिखाओ पर नान। सामने आ सकते हो? आग के अलावा नमूदार हो। पत्थर आया सामने। ये आया। ठीक है, सामने नहीं आ सकते, ठीक है, पता लग गया कि आप यहाँ पे हैं। इस आग से तुम बने हो, दोबारा अपने होने का एहसास दिला सकते हो? ये रिस्पॉन्स चेक किया आपने? हम अंदर आ सकते हैं? अल्लाह, कोई है? देख के क्या हम अंदर आ जाएं? अल्लाह अकबर, वो में चीज रोक रही है। लाइट ज्यादा रखना। इधर अस्तगफुर। अल्लाह माफ करे। अदनान, वो दिखा भाई।
बंद हो गई समाज
यार, कैन यू इमेजिन दिस? ये रिजवान देख रहे हैं? मैं उस चीज़ पे जोर इसलिए डाल रहा हूँ, बार बार इस चीज़ पे बात कर रहा हूँ कि वो आग का लग। कौन है पीछे करे? कौन है पीछे करे? देख के ये अभी हम इधर आ जाए, इधर करेगी, ये बार बार ये होगा। तो आप आओ, ठीक है? हाँ,
ठीक है।
क्या हुआ है? ध्यान से,
एकदम से मुड़ गया, मोच से आ गया।
वो देख के इस तरफ हो यार। दोबारा इधर आओ जरा, देख के पीछे यार, उधर देखा। आ, कौन है ये? फिर कुछ हुआ है। ये होते रहने हैं।
I wasn't joking when I said there was an elephant in the building towards the end. I wasn't referring to the quote that says, "There is an elephant in the room." Obviously, there wasn't an actual elephant, but these ghosts have some heavy feet. Like you can feel how heavy that thing walking must have been. It was almost as heavy as those who walk away without subscribing or watching the next video on screen.